Any kind of fixtures that we draw or any kind of fixtures that we make, it's important to know how many teams are there. Now one more thing to note down, this cyclic method is not under knockout tournament. This picture looks like a pattern game or some sort of game that you get in a newspaper, right? Now 6 will again, it will rotate. This circle that we're talking about, it will rotate. So obviously when in the exam, if you get to draw a staircase method, you have to draw a staircase method. You cannot compensate that with the cyclic method, or if you get a cyclic method, you cannot compensate that with the staircase method. Now let's get into something very quite interesting over here that we have over here is again cyclic method. So I hope you understood the knockout method pretty clear. Now what is next in line? We have cyclic method and then staircase method. So let's look into cyclic method first. For any method, for any kind of knockout that we do, any kind of fixtures that we draw or any kind of fixtures that we make, it's important to know how many teams are there, because obviously teams are the thing that we have to denote in the fixture, right? So total number of matches, how to calculate the total number of matches, that also a new formula will come here. Total number of matches, okay, how many matches will be conducted. So how many formula did you study till now? You studied 2 formulas, right? What are the 2 formulas? You studied about calculating or dividing the total number of teams in the upper half and lower half. Then you studied about dividing buys in the upper half and lower half. Then you studied about calculating how to calculate the buys, right? So 3 different formulas you studied. Now this is the 4th one, how to again calculate number of teams that you have. So n is again what? Number of teams, and again n minus 1 divided by 2. So 6, if you have 6 teams, so total number of team that you have over here is again 6. So 6 into 6 minus 1, again you have given, again 6 minus 1 is 5. So 6 into 5, 30 divided by 2, you will get 15 matches. So total 15 matches will be there in your again tournament. So 15 matches will be there. Now total number of rounds, you will again have 5 rounds. In the image you can see over here, you have total 5 rounds. So this is pretty new to you. This is pretty new to you. Cyclic method is a new method that you have again. Now one more thing to note down, this cyclic method is not under knockout tournament. It comes under what tournament? It comes under league tournament. So under league tournament you have 2 categories. What are those? You have again cyclic tournament and you have staircase method. You have cyclic method and you have staircase method. Tournaments are of only 2 types. What types tournament you have? You have 2 types of tournament. There is one more hybrid type of tournament that I will teach you. But the regular, there are 2 types of tournament. You have knockout tournament and then you have league tournament. In knockout tournament, there is no different types. But in league tournament, you have 2 different types. What are those 2 different types? You have the fixture drawing, you have cyclic method, and you have staircase method. Now we are studying cyclic method. Later we will also see the combination method. That's a hybrid method. I will teach you that when I teach you the staircase method. Okay. So looking over here, this picture looks like a pattern game or some sort of game that you get in a newspaper, right? So this picture looks like that. But you can see over here, this is pretty easy if you see. So in the cyclic method, how do you do is your match league, one thing that you need to understand is in knockout tournament we make pairs, right? We make pairs and we make them to compete with each other, and whomever gets eliminated in that round doesn't go to the next round. And that's how 16 team becomes 8 teams, 8 team becomes 4 teams, 4 teams become 2 teams, and 2 teams finally gives away the winner and you get the champion. That's how it happens. But in this case, what type of tournament we are talking about here? We are talking about a league tournament. In a league tournament, every team has to compete with every other team. There are 2 types of league tournament, single league and double league. Okay, single league means one team is competing with every other team one time. Double league means every team is competing with every other team for 2 times. But we are talking about single league here, okay? So single league, when you're talking about in this cyclic method, what happens is that each team will get a chance to compete with other team. Each team will get a chance to compete with other team, okay? So it's not like a knockout where you may miss to compete with any other team. So knockout, you already get a pair fixed, right? And that pair gets into competition, and that two competitors will compete with each other, and one team may never be competing with the other team. That also may happen if they get eliminated earlier, but in this case that's not happening. In this case every team will compete with the other team. But how the pattern goes, if now here I have given a case where even number is there, okay? So total number of team that we have is 6 here, okay? So total number of team that we have is again 6. You can see in the formula n minus 1 divided by 2, okay? This is the total number of matches formula. This formula also I want you to write it down. 6 minus 1 divided by 2, you again get 5 divided by 2. 6 5s are 30 divided by 2, you have total 15. So 15 matches will be there. So 15 matches will be there. So out of 15 matches, you can see 15 matches will, if you count each matches, you will get to know how many matches are there. But we will not go there to counting. We will see how the matches will take place. Now, this is how the matches will go. Okay? So the place for one will be fixed. In the diagram you can see the place for first team will be fixed. The place for the first team will be fixed in every round. You can see over here. Can you see over here? In each round we are fixing the spot for one. And now this is the case when we are talking about an even number. So 6 is an even number. The total number of team that we are talking about is 6, and 6 is an even number. But what if it is 7 in number? What if it is 8 in number? In that case what we do is we write, instead of 1 we write by, okay? We write just by. We will be giving B there. We will be donating that area with a B. But here in case we are taking an even number, that's why we have started directly with 1. So 1 will be competing with 2, 2 will be competing with 3, 3 will be competing with 4, 4 will be competing with 5, and 5 will be competing with 6. Now in the second round, what will happen is that this 6 will, now what will happen in this round is, now what will happen in the next round is, this rotation is happening. That's why it is called as cyclic. Cyclic means what? It rotates, right? So this 6 will go to the place of 2, and 2 will come down and it will rotate. You know how a chain in a cycle works? When you pedal a cycle, right, you have seen the chain, right? In chain you see small little beads, right? Small little rings are there in this shape. Okay, this shape beads will be there in the chain. Have you seen that? So this kind of beads will be connecting and it will be going like this. So you will have a full chain like that, and that chain rotates around a big gear. Right, it keeps on rotating like this. Just like that, this number that you see, this team, the teams, 6 teams that you see will keep on rotating like this across all the 5 rounds that you have. So you started off with 2 here, you have 3, then you have 4, then you have 5, then you have 6. Now 6 will again, it will rotate. This circle that we are talking about, it will rotate, and the 6 will come there, and 2 will come down, then 3 will come, then 4 will come, then 5 will come. After that again it will rotate like this, okay? Then again in the third round what will happen is again 5 will come here, it will rotate, 5 will come over here, and then again it will start rotating. So how the competition is taking place here? 1 is competing with 2, okay? 1 is competing with 2, 1 is competing with 3, 1 is competing with 4, 1 is competing with 5, 1 is competing with 6. Like that it is going, okay? So each team is getting so 1 is competing with all the teams. The same is happening over here also, okay? So every team is competing with each other, and we are carrying forward the cyclic method. In the third round you can see the 5 reached here, and it is going like this again. Then you can see again in the fourth round the 4 got shifted over here. So the cycle is again going like this. So it always goes like this, okay? So I want you to draw it like this so you understand it better. The cycle goes like this, okay? It goes down and it goes up like this. Over here also you can see the third will come here, and it will go down again, and then it will go up from here. And then if the next it will go around like this. So total number of rounds that we have is 5. So you saw over here, I'll repeat it one more time. You have total number of 6 teams, that is 6. 1 is fixed because even number is there. If it was a by, we would have given by, and we would have started from 1 from here. We would have started this as 1, this as 2, this as 3, this as 4, this as 5, and then we would have carried forward it further. But since it is already an even number, we start off directly with the 1. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like I told about cycle, it will rotate. Okay, so this 6 will rotate and come to the place of 2. 1 is fixed. 6 will not take the space of 1. 1 is fixed in all the rounds, like I said. We have given a fixed spot for that. So every time this spot will change. So whichever comes last in the last round over here, because the direction is going like this. Remember the direction, okay? It is going like this. It is going again clockwise. Got it? It is going clockwise. So that means this chain is going clockwise. The last number that you have is 6. So in the next round, the first will be 6 automatically. So this came first over here, 6. So 6 will go again like this, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is last. In the next round, he will jump to his place and he will come over here. So in this 5 came jumped over here in the next round. So like that, cyclic method is what? There is a common sense, it's a logic why they have given this a cyclic method. Because it rotates like a cycle. Just like I told you, I gave an example of cycle ring and the gear, right? How does it happen? So if you have a cycle chain is there, right? Cycle chain that you have when you pedal a cycle chain is connected with certain beads. So one bead will rotate across that gear and it will come again back on that same place. Again, second cycle will go on like this. So whenever the cycle is moving, it is coming back to the same place because it's a circle. Obviously, some common geometric mathematics. So same is happening. That's the logic behind giving the name it as a cyclic method. So I hope you understood how to draw a fixture of cyclic method. So 6 teams are there. How to again draw cyclic method or draw cyclic fixture in cyclic method. And this is again league tournament that we are talking about. Now let's get into our next method that is quite interesting and it will look also interesting and the name also will make sense according to the fixture. Okay, you look at the fixture and you can say that what exactly is the name. So if you never knew the name of that fixture, you would already guess the name of that fixture. So let's see what fixture are we talking about here. We are talking about staircase method. Okay, we are talking about staircase method or staircase fixture. And obviously if this name wouldn't have been here, and only if I would have given you this image and if I would have asked you, please give a name to this fixture, you obviously would have given it a staircase name, right? Because obviously it looks like a staircase, it looks like a step that is climbing upwards. But how it works is not, nobody is climbing upwards, we are coming downwards, we are walking downwards in this. So starting off with, again we have total number of teams, that is 9. Okay, total 9 number of teams are there. And in this case, one thing I'll tell you, in this particular method there is no worry about even number or odd number. Whether it is an even number, whether it is an odd number, you can follow this method. For league tournament, you can follow this kind of method if you don't have to worry about even number or odd number or calculating the buys and things like that. So that is the practical case when you conduct the tournament. But obviously when in the exam, if you get to draw a staircase method, you have to draw a staircase method. You cannot compensate that with the cyclic method, or if you get a cyclic method, you cannot compensate that with the staircase method. When they ask you about staircase method, you have to give a staircase method. So here you can see again. So spot for 1 we have given fixed in the first round. So what you do is, in every round you give again the spot fixed for each of the teams. So first is again given over here. So first team will compete with second, first team will compete with third team, first team will compete with fourth team. That's how it will go. In the second, what will happen, that first team's whole participation is done in that, because in the first round itself you have seen they have competed with everybody. So whatever points you need to calculate, you have already calculated. So now no more first team will be getting involved. Now after that, second team will be there. So we will write second team in every place and second team will be competing with third. Now you may ask why second team is not competing with one, because second team already competed with one when one is competing with second, right, in the last tournament. That's common sense over here. So you can see that 2 is again competing with 3, 2 is again competing with 4, 2 is competing with 5, again 6, 7, 8 and 9. In the next we will be talking about 3. Now here 3 will be a team. It's a third team's league time. So third team will be competing with every other team. So third team will be competing with 4, third team will be competing with 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. After that, again same procedure, same pattern we will follow. Fourth team will participate again with 5, 6, 7 and 8. Then in the next, fifth team will participate with again, fifth team will participate with 6, fifth team will participate with 7, fifth team will participate with 8, fifth team will participate with 9, and again in the next you will see 6th and then 7th and then finally 8th. And finally whatever points tables will be made according to whatever points they have scored, how many points, how many matches they have won or how many matches they have lost. According to that, points will be scored and the winner will be decided. So this is the staircase method, and this is the second and the last method for league tournament. Now there is one more tournament now this is the last topic that we covered in this session. Before we jump into that, I would like to give a short description about a hybrid tournament that is known as combination tournament. Now what is a combination tournament? A combination tournament is a tournament where you merge, where you mix both knockout tournament and league tournament. What is a knockout tournament? Knockout tournament is where you have 16 teams, you make pairs of 2, 2, 2 like that, and you make 8 pairs, right? And 8 pair will compete with each other, and finally one winner will come. Only that winner will go to the next round. So 16 team will become 8, 8 will become 4, 4 will become 2, and out of 2 one winner will be coming. That is knockout tournament. What is league tournament? I'll give you a second. What is league tournament? League tournament is when each team is competing with the other team. Okay, each team will get a chance to compete with every team. And it's not like knockout tournament when you may miss out to compete with the other tournament. So in the combination tournament, what happens is the person who is conducting the tournament, whether it's a coach or a manager or if it's a big tournament or an event, if that person decides to conduct a combination tournament, he may choose to conduct the first 3 rounds on the basis of knockout tournament. And after, if 16 teams are there, 16 teams are doing a knockout tournament, they will get into 8 in the second round. And after 8, then again if they do the, if they do the knockout tournament, he will get into 4th, they will get into, the total number of teams that will be left out will be 4, right? So after 4, the person who is conducting tournament, he may decide, okay, now at this level, let's conduct league tournament. So now these 4 teams will be conducting what? The 4 teams will be having competition with each other, and that will be a league tournament. So the whole tournament became a combination tournament. It became a hybrid tournament. So hybrid tournament is again called as what? What is the name? Combination tournament. Hybrid tournament is called as what? Combination tournament. So this is one thing that I wanted to give you, and I have not made a separate discrimination for that, because it's quite understandable and logical to understand that automatically a hybrid tournament, a combination tournament is a combination of knockout and league. So since you understood knockout tournament, since you understood league tournament, it's pretty easy to understand what is a combination tournament when both are merged together. So if total number of rounds are 10, if first 3 rounds you conduct in knockout tournaments and rest of the 7 rounds you conduct in league tournament, that is totally up to you if you are the person who is conducting the tournament. That's called as again combination tournament. So I hope you understood whatever concepts I covered today. This was the final session of planning in sports. We already had first and second session of planning in sports. Now again I'm telling you, if you haven't seen that, first you need to see that first part and second session, and then you have to see the third session. Otherwise certain key concepts that I talked about, certain technical terms that I spoke about will not be much clear to you. So in order to understand this whole session, you need to go and watch the first and second session first, and then come back to this session and clear your doubts and try to understand how to draw the fixture and everything else. Okay, so hope you understood today's session. Let's get a small recap. What all things we did today? First we studied about buys, key concepts first. First we studied about buys, then we studied about seeding, then we studied about special seeding, then we studied about knockout tournaments, then we studied 4 formulas. Okay, what are 4 formulas we studied? We studied how to calculate buys, then we studied how to calculate the number of teams. Okay, then we not to calculate the number of teams but to divide the number of teams in the upper half and lower half. Then we studied about the formula to divide the buys in upper half and lower half. Then finally we also saw and studied the formula for total number of matches, how to calculate the total number of matches. And we also saw how to see how many rounds will be taken. So all these things we covered. We studied about knockout tournament, we studied about staircase method, we studied about again cyclic method, and all these things we covered. We studied about knockout tournament, we studied about again cyclic method, we studied about staircase method. So all these different kind of fixtures we covered. So hope you understood all the topics, hope you understood the first and second sessions. Those who have seen the first and second session, and those who haven't seen, again I'll recommend please go and watch that. Hoping you understood everything. I will see you in the next class with the next chapter, with a fresh new session, the fresh new ideas and fresh new concept for you all to learn. Until then, I'll take a leave from here. This is me, Rohit, signing out. Until next time, goodbye.